Making sure the care is there when needed. Next up, we have the Hokianga Hospital Auxiliary Inc. from the Far North District.
Hello, I'm John Carter, the Mayor of the Far North District, and I have Gwen and Liz with me today. Hokianga is one of New Zealand's most economically challenged areas. It's had a hospital service and a health service for many, many years, but in the 90s the government decided to take the hospital, wanted to take the hospital and the health services away. The community rebelled, and the hospital auxiliary, which had been in vogue for a good number of years, Gwen's actually been involved as a foundation member for nearly 50 years, came into its own. The consequence of that is that they now are responsible for buying and the equipment and for capital fundraising for the hospital and health facilities. As a consequence, they've saved many lives, and as a consequence also, many of the people there are in good health. These people aren't superstars, they're not TV personalities, they're not even, God forbid, well-known politicians. But what they are is the very heart and soul of our community. They are the people who make New Zealand great. I give you Gwen and Liz.
Thank you, John. First off, I will address volunteer input, commitment and passion. This started from the get-go, when Hokianga Hospital Auxiliary was set up to support the hospital. And it's hard to believe that 48 years on, another generation of volunteers continue working their butts off on the auxiliary never-ending project of raising money for the hospital. Why? Because the hospital is vital to the health and well-being of our community, of over 70% Māori, high unemployment, and 30% on a benefit of some sort. The hospital has always been underfunded, and government reforms have threatened to close both the hospital and our 9 community clinics on numerous occasions. Any threat to the hospital or service motivates, energises, and refuels auxiliary volunteers' passion and commitment to do everything in their power to save the service. Volunteers simply refocus, raise the bar, swing into action, and continue to work to raise the money for the project in hand. Auxiliary volunteers are grassroots fundraisers. We don't wear high-vis jackets, and we don't keep a record of our hours. We consider that our hours, our voluntary hours, commitment and passion are measured by the amount of money we raise and the success of projects to save the hospital and service.
Use of resources and funding. Hospital Auxiliary does not have an independent funding stream and relies totally on volunteers' endless energy to raise funds, donations and the generosity of charitable trusts. Over the last 8 years, the average amount raised annually has been $21,261. Auxiliary give priority to fund the essential items of equipment needed to retain services. For example, resuscitation equipment. It's vitally important that we have this well-equipped emergency service. Otherwise, clients would have no option but to travel as far as Kaitaia, Kawakawa, or Whangarei for hospital emergency care. We fund portable beds, pressure care mattresses and oxygen concentrators for clients who choose to remain at home. Otherwise, they would be in residential care or in hospital. Hokianga has no public transport, and many cars are unreliable. Auxiliary fund volunteer drivers who transport those in need to health-related appointments, daycare and mental health clients for social outings. This year, Auxiliary funded equipment to the value of $25,000 to replace residential lounge chairs.
Capacity to overcome difficulties. This is not a problem for Auxiliary. If the funding is not available, the project is put on hold until the target is met. Or if the project is urgent or a threat to the service, we appeal to the community. Any threat to the hospital or service unites our community. And when we ask for money, the response is, how much and when do you need it by? And a good example of this was in 2009, when the residential wing failed to meet the national standards and was due to be closed. Auxiliary, in conjunction with the Open-Only Lions, organised a basket social. Lions ran the day and Auxiliary mobilised the 9 clinic areas to provide the baskets for auction. And we raised a total of $27,000, enough to refurbish the entire 10-bed unit.
Effectiveness and success of our projects. All hospital auxiliary projects are successful, but without doubt the most notable is the maternity unit upgrade in 2010. However, Hokianga was given a time frame to upgrade the unit to meet national standards or close it, and loss of this service would have had a huge impact on the community and expectant mothers who would have had to travel long distances to the nearest maternity facility. Over the following years, Auxiliary planned the purchase of all the essential clinical equipment needed: fetal monitor, CTG machine, pulse oximeter, baby resuscitation cozy cot, beds, lockers and chairs. The old-fashioned 4-bedded maternity unit had been built in 1928, and the only change was the odd slick of paint. Rooms were very basic. There was just one shared toilet and a bathroom down the end of the corridor. Now they have rooms with en-suites, more privacy, TV, phone and a room for the whānau to stay in. The new equipment makes monitoring progress of labour and delivering babies in Hokianga safer. Auxiliary again raised all the funds to totally refurbish the unit, in total $52,407.
Impact on the community. Auxiliary's 48-year financial contribution has played a pivotal role in the funding of the needed items of equipment for the hospital to meet the national health standards, and has saved the community's most valuable asset, the Hokianga Hospital and free medical service. But don't take our word for it, we'll ask the community.
The auxiliary is awesome. They work so hard behind the scenes. We don't realise how much of an effect they're having on the community.
They are like the fundraising arm, if you like, or like the guardian angel arm of the hospital.
We had this group of people who were passionate about keeping the service going, and we only had to ask, and they would do their utmost to raise funds.
We're very grateful for what we get in this area. There's not many places you can turn up at the hospital, you know, you don't have to pay, and so we will go all out to do whatever we can for our hospital.
They've purchased quite a lot of equipment, a lot of the stuff that you can see behind us, they've helped to purchase.
I lost a husband, and if I didn't have the assets that the hospital gave me here, he would have died in hospital in Whangarei. But I brought him home for his last 2 weeks of his life, you know, to the beautiful Hokianga.
So grateful for everything that has been done.
Just very thankful for the auxiliary for supplying us with this beautiful maternity unit.
I love the new maternity.
Because of the work that the auxiliary do, we're able to keep people in the community rather than them being in hospital. That's great, they're awesome.
Thank you.